We'll just share that screen now. Can you just do me a favour, Raquel, once that's up,
Yep.
just let me know that you all can see it all right? All right.
Yep.
Let's make
We
that.
can see your screen.
All right, beautiful.
There we go. Awesome. All right, Glenn.
Oh, that's a lot of thumbs up. That's good. No worries. Hey everybody, I'll introduce myself in a moment, but before I get into anything, acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we are all on today, all over the nation, and for me here, pay my respects to those of the Kulin Nation and elders past, present and future, and all elders emerging from all the lands across where we are today. Today I want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff we do on Aboriginal Quitline as far as the kind of counselling work and the phone work, but I've got some stuff I'm really keen to share around. I know I just want to set a timer here as well just to make sure that I'm doing all right, so I'll do that. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about a couple of projects that we're working on outside of the counselling work on Aboriginal Quitline. We've got a couple of things where we've really been as creative as we possibly could over the past year with the pandemic arising, to acknowledge that, you know, we probably, especially here in Victoria, looking at a situation where we may have to continue to patiently figure out how we'll get back into face-to-face stuff with community. So we've been doing a lot of focus around online stuff and different ways that we can outreach to people on social media and websites and things like that. I'll get to that, but to quickly just give you a rundown on the type of work that we do when people come through, like whether they refer themselves or they come through an ACO or any type of service through referral, is Aboriginal Quitline it's connected to Quit Victoria and Quitline in Victoria, but we are our own service. I'm the partnerships officer for Aboriginal Quitline, and I'm also one of the counsellors as well. I started out when I was one of the counsellors, and then when the person who was doing my other role first when he left Jethro Karma Holt, when he headed off, I took over that role as the cultural liaison and the partnerships officer. So when we work on Aboriginal Quitline, though, as far as when people seek support from us on the Aboriginal Quitline, we make sure that people have the same counsellor the whole way through. On the mainstream line, it's a team approach and everybody works with different people. When you work with Aboriginal Quitline, you receive the same counsellor the whole way through the process. We make sure that we put culture first all the time. That's always our main focus. We make sure that if you want to speak to a female, you can. If you want to speak to a male, you can. Elders always have full autonomy to express themselves. Of course, everybody does, but we always put our elders and lift up our elders most of all too. As I said, client autonomy and yarning and stuff. It's about storytelling. You know, we integrate as much as is going to be culturally appropriate, the World Health Organization model for smoking cessation. We make sure that we put our yarning and storytelling first as well. Confidentiality and the privacy stuff always applies as well in the same way, but we also put extra effort to make sure that happens too with our service, because we are working with people that might have close ties with different people in community and stuff like that. So we're always making sure that we are keeping things where they should be, respectfully. At the moment, we've got 3 Aboriginal counsellors. We've got Jamara down on the left there. We've got Andrea to the right, and myself. We've got 2 female counsellors and myself as a male Aboriginal counsellor. Proud to say that we are a pretty strong team when it comes to the work we do, and I really, really acknowledge those 2 other smiling faces, those strong women, and how great they do the work. In the last 12 months or so, we have made some changes around how we are doing the work on Aboriginal Quitline. What we came to realise is that the type of counselling that we provide and the type of yarning and support that we provide when people come through to work with us on Aboriginal Quitline has been trauma informed. It's been encompassing of an understanding and a shared vision of the way that our communities and those who are recovering for some of those outcomes of colonisation and invasion have a right to and deserve to be treated. And what we came to realise is that we needed to shift some of our outreach stuff to more in a direction that aligns with the type of experience that people have generally when they work with us on the phone. So we've also noticed that especially earlier this year at the pregnancy roundtable meeting at DHHS in Canberra, that we just talked about the trauma-informed, the need for us to acknowledge that all day long. So it was empowering for us to know that we're kind of on that similar journey to so many other organisations around the nation who are acknowledging that in the work that we do, as well as in our communities. What we look at in the way that we implement this is consulted the ballot report, and this is the type of stuff that I am committed to as one of the coordinators, to look at in an ongoing sense how we can continue to acknowledge the need for all these different aspects, culturally, personally, intergenerationally, for everybody, all our people. And that goes to whether or not a person is ready or wanting to seek support with Aboriginal Quitline. This is just also about how we outreach, not even outreach, that's not the right word. That is just how we present ourselves, I think, is it for me in community, is that I want, and I hope that we hope that we can always be seen and actually be seen to practice the types of focuses that we can see here, that we can start to look at and continue to focus on those areas. So when it comes to the trauma-informed approach and the population health and strength-based approach, we kind of looked at it in two separate areas of focus. So what these two areas of focus are, as you can see, is empowerment through information and inspiration-focused material. So what that comes down to is for me, is the idea that we want to give people information about how to do things like quitting smoking. We want to give people, it's all about the knowledge is power idea, that people have a right to know this information. They have a right to have this information so they can make their own decisions when they're ready, with the support that might assist them to have the best possible outcome to be able to achieve something like quitting smoking. So empowering people through that information, giving them the information they have a right to have, but also looking at, we've been through a lot in our communities. And, I was a smoker and stuff for quite a long time. And, I had someone say to me that was very special and continues to be very special in my life back then, that said, I love you just as you are, and I know that you're going to quit when you're ready. And really that was, I think, that was the catalyst that really pushed me towards really strongly doing it, like knowing that somebody, saw through whether the habits that I had and saw something better in me and people around me in my community. So basically, and that's another thing that we do on Aboriginal Quitline. It's generally the mainstream Quitlines and a lot of counselling services in a mainstream sense, the idea of self-disclosure is a no-go, whereas on Aboriginal Quitline, we don't make it about us, but we're always happy to talk about our own experiences and share our own stories, to help community to hopefully to see that we're just people that are paying it forward. We've had these experiences ourselves a lot of the time, and just choosing to do that work to try to help other people out. So that's an example of the type of stories we might tell, the type of yarns we might have. It's also about inspiring people. And it's about these ideas interweaving and working together. Being inspired to make a change is all well and good, but if you don't have the knowledge and don't have the information that you might need and the support you might need to be able to make the change, that inspiration might not go anywhere. By the same token, if you've got that information and you've got that knowledge about how to do something, if you don't feel empowered and you don't feel that sense of confidence or whatever it is you might need on a personal level to be able to put that information into practice, then that's the type of thing that we need to be acknowledging in a secular sense, to give people information, but also to help them to be inspired. It's not about inspiring people as much as it's to help them to inspire themselves. A couple of the ways that we look at how we put this into practice. For a while, we've been doing the Aboriginal Quitline's podcast, Quit Stories. I'm aware that there's a few other initiatives that have happened around the country that are also called Quit Stories. Unfortunately, I didn't know about that until we had named this one. So it's I think something that is also an extension of other work that's been done around the idea of people telling their stories, which is really what it's about. This podcast is about all of us having the right and autonomy to tell our stories in an unedited, uncensored way. Of course, everybody that has a yarn with us in these types of things, we do ask that we be respectful of people's other, needs and stuff when they might be listening or watching. But I think we've done 17 episodes now, and I've never ever had a situation where the conversation that we've had, the yarn that we've had, has needed anything other than "that was awesome, thanks, do you mind if I post this now?" So it's been, I think, a great outcome. To sum it up, it's about the person telling the story to have full control of them getting their message across. So we've got some podcasts that go for 10 minutes. We've got others that go for 50 minutes. And they just go as long as the story needs to go until the person has made themselves heard in the way that they need to. And so it follows culture in that way, where we don't put a time limit on it. We don't censor you. We want to hear your story. And it doesn't even be that, need to be that you've quit. It can be that whatever point in the journey you're at, we just, we want to be able to hear that story. And really what it's all about is my belief is, if you aren't necessarily feeling ready to contact Aboriginal Quitline for whatever reason, you still deserve to have access to that information. You still deserve to have access and have an example given to you about what you might expect. So that's really an example of it. This is what the yarns are like when we talk to you on Aboriginal Quitline. This is something that we are really, really excited about. At the last jurisdictional workshop last year, I remember talking to everyone. You might not remember, a lot's happened since then, but I was talking to everybody last year about a project that we were working on that was different to anything that we've ever done, that was super excited about. And after a long period of time of going through, the process that we all have to work through to make sure that it's researched, that it's underpinned by evidence and all that side of things, we've done that now. And it's been a project that started out as this slogan. It started out as pride, strength and confidence. And what we looked at doing was making some wearable resources with these types of words on them. And this is all based on that trauma-informed idea, the concept of all these three terms are the type of experience, all these three words and how they relate to emotions is the type of experience that we hope that people that interact with Aboriginal Quitline in any way, whether it be on our Facebook page, our website, on the phone, in community, in person, in any way, that this is the experience that they have from working with us, that the feeling of pride they have, the feeling of strength they have, the feeling of confidence they have in themselves and culture and community and just as a human being, is that's what we hope that people experience. And once we realised what we were creating, it's actually continued to evolve into a whole concept that is, we're going to be looking, we are going to be making things like t-shirts, hats, beanies, all of it, singlets, water bottles, and we're looking at also doing some stuff really outside the box as well, like stuff like mouth guards and stuff like guitar straps and and all different things that really the idea is like, we've been through a long period of time with Aboriginal Quitline and with Quitline where, we've given out, lots of different things, stress balls and balloons and things like that. And that's always worked. But I think what we're trying to, and we are moving away from a bit more now, is some of these kind of less positive visuals and stuff. I think, in my opinion, I feel like we all know the dangers of smoking, and a lot of time it's more about people feeling a bit stuck or feeling not exactly sure how they might be able to do something like quitting smoking. So this project is about creating stuff that we can take to community, or we can offer to community, that people go, wow, that's really uplifting. That actually makes me feel good. And I'm motivated to have that, rather than, and I totally respect and I understand the need for us to look at the realities of stuff like smoking. But I feel like it's a time for us now in this 2020 to start, looking at things that, as I said, inspire us, that empower us. Because I find I do the work on Aboriginal Quitline as well. And what I've found is that so many people that call us, they seem to have this calling, this cultural calling that they feel from the inside out, that the issue is the addiction. It's not feeling like, they want to quit, but there's this addiction there that keeps giving them withdrawals and keeps them, kind of going back to the smokes. And I think so many people that we talk about, I've had multiple elders talk about on the podcast that since they quit smoking, it feels like they can, it feels like back when they were a kid, where they could just go out and be on country and not feel that pull back into the city and have to go and get smokes and whatever because of the withdrawals and stuff calling them back to go and get more. So, for us, it's about the idea of needing only food, water, shelter, and community to survive in our traditions and stuff. And often we'll say to people, let's look at that and let's see if we can eliminate that addiction. So then you can look at what you want to do from there on, addiction free. And so many people go, yeah, like that's really what's getting to me. And then, oftentimes they make that, no, I don't want to keep smoking now that I don't have that thing that's pushing me back. We've created a new animation as well. So all these things that we're doing are quite different and in a new direction. So what we thought about most of all is we need to get back to basics and also look at outreaching in such a way that we can also not miss lost in translation, the really specific things that need to be communicated to community as well. So stuff like how people can contact us. We also felt like we wanted to acknowledge as well the TIS teams in our outreach stuff, to acknowledge the work that UMOB do and how we work as a support community to be a part of a set of services that are there to help all people in all these different ways. So I wanted to finish up today just to show you this this animation. I'm going to try to play it. I'm pretty sure I shared my sound. I just was wondering if I can get a thumbs up from you guys. I'll just do a little test and make sure that you can hear it. And it's taking its time.
At Aboriginal,
can you guys hear that? Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear it? Okay, thanks, Desley. All right. So this is our new Aboriginal Quitline animation that explains, as I said, where we fit in the community of support people.
At Aboriginal Quitline Victoria, our vision for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people is for us to be healthy and thriving.
We're here to do whatever we can to help our communities be strong and stay strong. Tobacco is one of the main substances that our communities have been using that takes away from our health, wellness and freedom.
As an addictive drug, tobacco can begin to take away freedom of choice. It takes away our choice of what we spend our money on. What we put in our body can impact our family and kids and how we spend our time. Addiction makes us feel like we need to keep smoking, because when we try to stop, the withdrawals start. but there is hope. Support is available to help you quit smoking.
Tackling Indigenous smoking, or TIS workers, are deadly people in community who have stepped up to help our mob when they're ready to talk about quitting. They can help you get the info you need and link you up with health professionals who understand our mob's needs.
They can also connect you with Aboriginal Quitline, an over-the-phone counselling service for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, provided by Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community members. Aboriginal Quitline counsellors are trained and experienced to guide and support Aboriginal people in preparing to quit, quitting and staying quit.
We're not here to pressure, shame or criticise. We want to make sure you're informed and empowered to make your own choices. For us, the most important thing is supporting you.
If you want to find out more about quitting smoking, you can talk to an Aboriginal health or TIS worker at your local Aboriginal community centre or health service. You can also speak with an Aboriginal counsellor by calling Aboriginal Quitline on 13 78 48 from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Friday.
We all deserve to have the freedom to choose how we live. And if you want to quit smoking, Aboriginal Quitline is ready and waiting to give you all the support we can to help break the addiction to smoking. Call Aboriginal Quitline when you're ready for a yarn about how we can support you on 13 78 48. Visit our Facebook page to connect with other mob trying to quit.
All right. So that is about the size of what we're up to at the moment. One thing I did want to say as well, I just realised that what I missed just starting up too. I just want to acknowledge too, as myself as a proud Wiradjuri man, just for those who haven't met me before. So I'm originally from Dubbo, actually from a really small town outside Dubbo called Yeovil, and I still getting used to the Melbourne stuff, and I've actually been really lucky to be able to live out in the country at the moment. I feel very, very deeply for so many people in the metro area in Melbourne, and if there's any of you mob out there, like I'm sure there would be listening today and watching this, I just want to reach out to everybody and just give you love, and just hope everybody's staying safe, and I just as a human being, I wish I could do so much more but I just want to say, just to given the opportunity, that I hope everybody I know, everybody I don't know in this meeting is doing okay, and hope everyone's taking care. Did you want to do any questions or anything, Raquel? I'm happy to do either way. I can stick around for a bit or can head off. What do you guys prefer?
Yeah. So if anyone has some quick questions, and I think Tom put his hand up.
Yeah, thanks, Glenn. I couldn't see the animation, and I'd like to study it again. I think the bit that I picked up on that's worrying for me is talking about going into the AMS and talking to a TIS worker.
Okay.
What I need to do is to talk to the doctor or a health worker there, and that our TIS workforce are outreach and community-based population health people. But let me have a close look at that, and then I'll get back to you.
No worries. Thanks, Tom.
Any more questions?
No, just a comment, Glenn, that was really good. And I just think it's really good to, like, that's the first time I've probably heard Quitline actually in these sorts of presentations mention the TIS teams as well. I think it's great, the unified working as a team together, and it's really, really positive to hear that, what you're saying in the video. So thanks.
No worries. Just thank you for that. Yeah. No, I felt like it was, I think, important for us, to do that, just so we can acknowledge, just the connection that we have there, and just to acknowledge our part in, as I said, in how we can all work together. So, yeah.
Okay. If there are no more questions for Glenn, thank you, Glenn, for coming on and presenting to us today.